This is Miss Hannah, the one and only from the 419, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
Quack, quack. This is Rob Killjoy of the Ugly Ducklings, and you're listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Quack.
Hey guys, it's a whole lot of dude, Crash Jackson, and you're listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hello, and welcome to the show. It's Wrestling with Entertainment, bringing you the latest exclusive breaking news, previewing and reviewing the latest shows from WWE, AEW, New Japan every Saturday, and interviewing all your favorite wrestlers every Wednesday on YouTube and Castbox. Sponsored by Rogue Energy. Use promo code Wrestling with E for 10% off your next purchase. I am, of course, your host, James J., alongside Kaliko Yachts and Scooter Dust, who are not here today, but it is still a great day for wrestling, because we are wrestling with, he's a whole lot of dude, Crash Jackson.
Yo, thank you so much for that. That was a very good introduction. I appreciate that. I love that.
We do it big here on Wrestling With.
I'm all for that.
How are you, Crash?
I'm good. I don't have too much to complain about at the moment. So,
Tell us
it's one of those things. Like if I did, who would care?
Could you? Well, maybe your opponent would.
Maybe.
Could you tell us what you got coming up?
So this coming weekend, as of recording this, I have Future Great Wrestling down in Hamilton, Ohio on Friday the 24th. And then on the 26th, I may not be in action, but I will be in Jeffersonville, Indiana at Grindhouse Pro Wrestling. I kind of work a little bit as an agent there for the younger kids that are new into the business, getting some matches in front of the live audience and stuff like that.
Okay.
And then I'm pretty much at Future Great Wrestling like almost every Friday now, so that's a weekly show.
And where can we find you on social media and merchandise?
Okay, so on my Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, it's all at the Crash Jackson, Jaxon. My stream on Twitch as well. It's the same, the Crash Jackson. YouTube, the Crash Jackson. My Pro Wrestling Tee store is also the Crash Jackson, and my Teespring store is also that one's a little different. That one is Shop Crash Jackson merch.
Hey, don't change it up on us yet.
Yeah. But that's all my links right there.
And of course, you don't even have to look for them. The links will be in the description of the video below, both on YouTube and Castbox. Now, you work for Rockstar Pro. Can you tell us your relationship with that company?
So, right now I am currently the longest reigning amped champion at Rockstar Pro, which that makes it a little bit easier because we've not had a show in a year because there's been issues with the building and things like that. So like we're in the middle of finding another building because the owner just recently sold the one that we're in that we had been in for maybe a year and a half. So so that's kind of put a halt on things. I've been wrestling for Rockstar now for 3 years because I moved to Dayton, Ohio from Kentucky in the middle of 2018, and I was like almost immediately put onto the roster whenever I got here, and started off as like kind of like a scramble guy, just someone just like, hey, go out there and just wrestle, and then got put into a tag team, and then now I've been able to have some like fun and success as a singles wrestler there, and I'm really enjoying it.
That's great. Are we looking at? I was going to ask you, your champion. Is there a COVID asterisk at that at the end of that?
Yes, but also the last two shows that we ran, I did defend it, so part of it's got a little COVID asterisk, and there's like another double asterisk because we don't have a building to run shows in.
Hey,
Because
that's not
Rockstar
your
was
fault.
a week. Yeah, that's not my fault. Like none of it's my fault.
No.
I did defend it quite a bit before everything got shut down though. Like literally I won it on Friday. It was February 7th, and then I defended it on that following Wednesday in a scramble match against 5 other wrestlers. So I was ready.
You did enough working in that one night for the rest of that year.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now, can you tell us what it's like wrestling in the pandemic era in front of no crowd, and now kind of coming back to it as well?
So I have done a few like no crowd like tapings. I did a little bit of that with Paradigm Pro Wrestling based out of Indiana, doing some of their UWFI rules matches. And it was like some of the the other wrestlers that were there competing, they were kind of like out there as a crowd, but it's different whenever it's like an actual paying crowd compared to like
Right.
the boys, you know. But it took some getting used to, but like how hyped up they would get over things happening, it made it like feel like somewhat normal, which was great. And the COVID restrictions, like with like less and less crowds, made it hard because like some people that like aren't like in the business, they don't realize like it's so much easier to wrestle in front of a lot of people in comparison to wrestling in front of very few people. Because I feel like I would not really be nervous wrestling in front of like thousands of people, but if I'm wrestling in front of like 10, I'm like, all right. So then I'll get like the butterflies, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I guess it's like the showman aspect of it, because like kind of faces kind of blur together whenever you like look out to the crowd, so you can't really individually pick out one person for real, especially whenever it's upwards of like several hundred to like 1,000 people or something like that.
Right, and maybe there's more of a microscope on you if there's, a select amount of people in the crowd.
Yes, exactly. In the 8 years that I've been wrestling, the smallest crowd I've ever wrestled in front of, there was 7. There were 7 people in the crowd.
Oh my God!
And I think 4 of them were family members of some of the guys in the back. So there might have been 3 paid fans there, maybe.
Oh wow!
It was rough. That is definitely I don't think I'll ever beat that as far as like smallest crowd.
Now, you wrestled Al Snow. How big of a learning experience was that from like one of the maybe better, coaches, trainers out there that, he's also a coach, but, actually getting in the ring with him is another thing entirely as well.
Oh yeah. So like I was whenever that match came, I'm friends with the promoter of that promotion, Appalachian Mountain Wrestling, down in Kentucky, and this was I think in 2017. It might have even been like 2016. I would have to go back and look. I believe
so. It was either 2017 or 2016.
So it was like on Christmas night, and like previous months before that, like the promoter, he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna have you wrestle Al." And I was like, I looked around, kind of looked at him all confused. He's like, "Yeah, you're gonna wrestle Al." I was like, "Al who?" Like you have to you can't just say Al and automatically think I'm gonna assume Al Snow, because like I'd known like other people that had used like at least like the first name as their like wrestler name as Al. I'm like, that could be at least 4 other people, that I've came across. So and the whole night he was like, you never know, like, and he was just like ribbing me all night. I'm like, dude, come on, tell me. And then like he never told me. So a month later, and then they finally put out the match graphic, and I see that like the silhouette of him, and I'm like, oh, okay. Okay, because it was definitely like a silhouette of like Al holding the head of like his promo picture, and I'm like, yeah, that's definitely Al. But getting to, I was super extremely nervous like wrestling him, just because at that point in time he was definitely like the biggest name that I would have shared the ring with, as far as like relevant name at that point in time.
Right.
But it was like super enlightening with the way he like goes about wrestling and just the business in general. Just like the conversation I had with him like before the match and after the match, and the other times I've met with him throughout the years, even after that. Like, he just has like a very interesting and different outlook on it, and it definitely like helped me out a lot.
Was there maybe a one bit of pearl of wisdom, was like a light bulb went off?
I think it was the biggest thing with that helped me like with the light bulb is just like really learning how to feel the crowd.
Okay.
Because that was something that helped out. Like, I really had an issue with like that early on in my career, was just kind of like reading and filling out the crowd. Because sometimes you just got to call an audible, and just kind of go with the flow and just go with like what feels better than what was previously planned out. Because like not everything, it doesn't always work out the way it's supposed to. So being able to call an audible and be comfortable with it and be confident in what you're doing, Al definitely like helped out with like kickstarting that confidence of me having that.
All right. Now, can you tell us about your tag team partner, Christian Cobain? What's your relationship and how'd you guys meet?
So, I mean, we used to be roommates whenever we both moved up to Dayton, Ohio, around the same time. And a funny story is that like I'd already moved up here. I moved up like maybe like 2 weeks before he did, and I was told that he was moving in. I was like, oh, I think I'm friends with him already on Facebook, just because like all of us wrestlers, like we tend to like add each other and follow each other and try to like network and stuff like that.
Right.
And so like I tried to send him a Facebook message, and he never responded. And I was like, did he just kayfabe me, bro? I was like, what the hell? And so then whenever he moved in, I talked to him and I was like, hey, I tried to like message you like a week ago, and just to kind of like get to know you a little bit before you moved in, because like we were going to be like sharing a room. And he was like, oh man, I am so sorry. He thought I was just a fan, just trying to like talk to him, because like we had never like officially met in person or anything like that. We hadn't been on any shows previously, and so he just thought I was a fan. And it's super funny because like whenever I talk to him, we talk like relatively frequently for the most part, still. And I bring it up from time to time, and it gets a big laugh. It gets a big pop out of him. But yeah, that was how we met whenever we we were roommates whenever we moved to Ohio. And at first, like whenever we started training and stuff like that up here, we'd have like a training class twice a week, and we lived together, we worked out together, we trained together. And we both were coming from being in previous tag teams, so we wanted to be singles wrestlers. And then whenever they told us like, hey, you're going to be a tag team, and we were like, no, I don't want to, because like we had enough of it, because like we both like started around close, like the same amount of time almost, and had been predominantly tag team wrestlers. We wanted to kind of break out of that. but then eventually, like we like, you know what? Let's just make the best of it. And I feel like that chemistry that we had because we lived together, we worked out together, we traveled together, we trained together. Like literally, we were pretty much almost always together, unless like if one of us was like going out on a date with a girl or something like that.
Well,
So
I
like
think
I
that would
feel,
be pretty
I feel like
awkward
that
if your
chemistry.
roommate just came on a date with you.
Oh yeah, that would be super weird. But I feel like that chemistry that we garnered through like just spending so much time together and talking with each other and just being honest with each other, because like whenever we were like trying to like come up with ideas as far as a tag team, like combination moves and different things like that, it was a constant just like headbutting. Like we were just constantly like, we're both super stubborn and neither one of us would like wanted to give in on either side. And it was really funny just like how stuff like ended up working out. And then eventually like we just found that like the happy medium that we were able to mesh. And I feel like just all of that, you could really tell the chemistry and the friendship that we actually had whenever you would see us like tag and wrestle.
It's great that you kind of, made the best out of a situation you didn't want to be in, and it kind of worked out for both of you.
Oh, definitely. Because like us being in that tag team is definitely like put us in some like very good situations and got us some like really good opportunities. Because at that point in time, we were like, you know, if we're going to be a tag team, let's just try to be like the best tag team we can be. Because there's millions of singles wrestlers out there. There's not that many like tag teams that are on the indies that like travel and like are trying to get signed or anything like that. So that was our thought process. We were just trying to be, we were trying to like make a living being pro wrestlers, which is like what the dream is, and we were trying to make the best out of the situation that we were handed.
Now, watching you wrestle, you move like a cruiserweight. Like, you are really agile in the ring. It's kind of like watching a Young Bucks match, honestly. Could Could you kind of tell us how you developed? If was that this kind of style you wanted to do, or kind of something you found out you could do later on during the training?
So my initial training, whenever I first started, it was very old school, Southern Memphis style wrestling, very slow, methodical pace. And then I don't know, I just started watching like other styles of like wrestling and just watching Japanese wrestling, what Ring of Honor, just watching like the bigger like indie shows as well. And then I just started like taking like bits and pieces from things and just trying to like mesh everything together just so that way like my goal is to like have my match be completely different than every other match that's going to be on the card no matter what show I'm on, just to try to stand out and be different. And I feel like me taking like a little bit of from here, a little bit from there, and like kind of blending it to my own personal taste, I feel like that definitely helps. But as far as like me being able to like move like the cruiserweight, that I would definitely say my years of playing football and basketball and things like that, just growing up being an athlete definitely helped a lot as far as like my footwork and things like that.
Oh. Now, you had a couple of encounters with Impact Wrestling. Can you tell us how that came about and what was the experience like?
So the first one that I got to do was a joint show with Rockstar Pro, and it was held here in Dayton at the Dayton Convention Center. And I was in the scramble match, and let's see who all was in that. It was Aaron Williams, Nate Wings, Ron Mathis, myself, and
Moose?
Rohit Raju was in that one.
Okay.
And so that was my first time being on like a somewhat of like that big of a TV product. I was extremely nervous, but it went really well. And so that was a lot of fun. Also, like getting to share the ring with Rohit. He's one of the good ones. He's a good brother. And then like I like was wrestled on Rockstar shows with the other guys like weekly. So it's always fun to like have some like familiarity in there with you, but also like have something that's a little bit unfamiliar as well. It made it like interesting. But the second time was it was November of 2019 at Impact's No Surrender, and they were doing a joint show with the Wrestling Revolver, and they were doing it here in Dayton at the Bright Side, which is like a concert venue. Yeah. And Moose he was supposed to be in the spot that I was in, but he had got hurt like a couple weeks before up in Philadelphia at House of Hardcore. And I was also at that show. I wasn't like on it, but I was up there traveling in the area, and I saw it whenever it happened. I was like, oh crap, he's going to be he's supposed to like be wrestling in Dayton in like 2 weeks. Like, what's going to happen? So I had like a tentative like booking for that same day. But I'd never confirmed it because I was like, maybe I might get something that day for the Impact show. I'm not sure. I don't want to fully commit. And then I got a text from Sammy Callahan, and he was like, hey, Moose can't go. You got the spot in the scramble match if you want it. And I was like, yeah. Duh, I want it. You should have just assumed and then text me and be like, hey, I got you in the match. Be there. Instead of asking me, I would have dropped everything what I was doing.
Oh, no, surprise him. No, I don't want to be in the match.
Yeah, for real. And the promoter for the other promotion that I was tentatively like potentially going to go work for on that same night, I told them the situation like, hey, like no harm, no foul, go. That's a big opportunity to go do that. Like we'll get you here like at another date. And I like I can really appreciate when promoters can do that. So shout out to Big Tom at War Wrestling for that, because I was supposed to work for him on that same night. That is great. That one I was probably even more nervous for that one, but I would say it's more of like an exciting nerves, because I was the only guy in that match that wasn't like signed by Impact, because it had Willie Mack, Brian Cage, Madman Fulton, and Big AC Romero.
Yes.
So it was. I'm like, oh man. What is it?
Not ham and egos.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so I'm in there with like all these guys that wrestle on TV weekly. They're in the position that I want to be in, and like getting to share the ring with guys like Cage and Willie, because like I'd watch them wrestle on like Lucha Underground and like other places on TV. I'm like getting to be in the ring with them was kind of like a little bit of a starstruck moment, but I was like, nope, I can't. We got business to do. Like we're working together tonight. Like I can't be fanboying over here. But yeah, that was a really fun and great experience, and got to like really see like what it's like to be on a full blown like TV product, because that one was a pay-per-view. The other one was just like a Twitch special. This one was like a full blown pay-per-view that was on Fight and Impact Plus. So that's something pretty sweet. Cool. I feel like that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Absolutely. And I'm not entirely sure if this was a part of Impact, but you wrestled Rhino in a triple threat with Clayton Gaines as well.
Oh, so that was at XWA in Warwick, Rhode Island. That was close to like New Year's Eve, I think. Yeah, that was in 2019, if I'm not mistaken, as well.
Yes.
So that was like a month later. And
It was the 24th of November.
oh, so boom, there we go. It was even closer than what I thought it was. But the show that it was on, it was XWA's like biggest show of the year. They call it I think it's Resolution so it's like their biggest show of the year. And me and Clay would travel to the Northeast all the time with Ace Austin because that's where Ace is originally from. He's originally from Pennsylvania, and he traveled and frequented like Rhode Island and like Maine in that area, especially like super early on whenever he first started. And we would just travel with him all the time and go to these shows and get some spots here and there. And for that one, we went up there and we didn't know exactly what match we were going to get in, or if we were going to get like a match between ourselves or what, because there was also like a rumble on that match or on that card. Okay. So we thought, oh, maybe we might get a spot in the rumble. That's fine. Like we just wanted to work. We just wanted to wrestle. So we would have been happy with whatever. But then Rhino was supposed to have wrestled Anthony Henry that night, and Anthony Henry was flying in from North Carolina, and North Carolina got hit with some like snow. Ooh. Some bad weather, so his flight got canceled. So Rhino's there. He's already there at the show, and he doesn't have an opponent. So the promoter he's like, hey, you guys are going to go out there like you're going to do a singles match, and then Rhino's going to interrupt and be like, hey, my opponent can't make it, so let's make this a triple threat match. And so that's kind of how that happened. I was like, what? Whenever he said that, I was like, no freaking way. It was insane because in such a short amount of time, like I got the match with Rhino, and then I had that match with Impact with all those guys there. And on Thanksgiving, I got to wrestle a triple threat match with Zachary Wentz and Justin Credible, and then also be in a Survivor Series match with Sandman as well, like in that same night. So like there was a lot of, I was getting to work with like a lot of like huge names in the wrestling business in like a month. And like my mind was just like exploding. It was literally insane to me because like I didn't think, like whenever I first started, I didn't think I would have gotten to the point that I am now, because whenever I first started, I wasn't necessarily like trying to do this as like a career. I was basically just trying to find something to replace me not playing football anymore, something just to be like a hobby. And then it's turned into this where it's been like my main focus for the last 4 years. And it's literally just breathtaking whenever you think about like my mindset from whenever I started to what it is now.
No, you know, you were kind of a last minute replacement for that 5-way scramble. You were kind of thrusted into this match with Rhino. What does it kind of mean to you to be trusted, to be in that position and be trusted to work a good match with these guys and, you know, be safe with them?
It means a lot because that means that my previous work shows that that I can go with people of that caliber, and that I can just, I'm basically like, I'm saying that I'm on that level with them. And that just means a lot. That just means that the work that I'm putting in and the matches and the quality of matches that I'm putting out there is giving me a solid reputation that people are like, okay, yeah, we can put him in there and with this person, and they will have a banger. It will be a really good match. The fans will love it. And it's very humbling, but also very what's the word I'm looking for?
Gratifying?
Yes, gratifying. Just because of, like I said, from how I started to where I am now, it just means the world.
And you kind of you touched on something that I found more interesting. You wanted to find a hobby that would keep you away from football. Could you maybe elaborate on that a little bit?
Okay, so I went from like over a decade I played football, and then I went to college and played football, and some stuff happened and I wasn't able to play anymore, some like bureaucratic stuff. So I wasn't able to like transfer from the community college that I went to transfer to another school to continue playing. So I had started wrestling training, and I was just trying to find some sort of like athletic like release, just because like I've always played sports my whole life, whether it be basketball or a little bit of baseball or football. I've always done something, and I'm very extroverted. I like to make a show. I'm very overly dramatic and very ridiculous, as I'm told regularly. But
That's
from
horrible for wrestling. You can't make it in
yeah,
wrestling that way.
you can't make it less in wrestling if you're doing all that. So I just felt like wrestling was like a good thing to do, and it was my first love before I found football anyway, because that was something that me and my dad would watch every Monday, watching Raw, and then also Nitro whenever the Monday Night Wars was going on in the 90s. So that was my first love. That was what I wanted to do first, but I never knew how. And then I found football, and I was like, I always told myself, I was like, if football doesn't work out, because I wanted to try to go pro and play football, but we see that didn't work out. But I wanted to try to be a professional wrestler if it didn't work out. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I will figure out a way to do it. And here we are. I've been doing it for 8 years now.
I think that's more than just a hobby at this point.
Oh yeah, it's definitely more than a hobby at this point. And what made me like realize that like I can do this for real, I went to the Ring of Honor like seminar tryout camp. I don't know how often they hold them anymore, but used to they would do like maybe like 2 or 3 a year whenever they had their old training school in Bristol, Pennsylvania. Yeah, in Bristol, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And I went there in 2016, and I'd only been having matches for like 2 years. And I got there, and after the weekend was over, I wasn't the worst wrestler there. As far as like in-ring work and like promos, and just from all the critiques that I got from all the coaches that were there. And some of the coaches that were there was people like Adam Cole, the Briscoes, Jay Lethal, Brutal Bob Evans, Nigel McGuinness, Kevin Kelly, Steve Corino. Like there's top names in the wrestling business that were there at the time as coaches. And I wasn't the worst guy there, and I had been doing it probably like the least amount of time that at that point in time from everybody that was there. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I can like really like turn something like into this or get something out of it, because at that point in time I was working at a car manufacturing plant Monday through Friday, and then only getting to wrestle on like Saturday and Sunday. So like it sucked, but I was like somewhat making it work. But then after that, I was like, I'm gonna like try to go at this even harder than what I am right now after that weekend. And I feel like that was like definitely the turning point of like my my gear shift and like my thought process on how I was going to do this.
I can imagine it would be very intimidating being in front of all those incredible names, and
it was because I've watch a lot of them on TV like weekly, and I'm like, and now we're in the same room together, and you're watching me wrestle. Please don't tell me how bad I am.
That's 7 people watching your match. That is maybe a little bit more breathtaking than the other 7. No?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, did anybody kind of give you? What was did any of them kind of talk to you afterwards and give you some advice that kind of helped you now even today?
The biggest like takeaway that I took from that weekend was actually from the Briscoes, as far as like doing things in the match, because they put it into terms that like really clicked with me, because like I love video games, and they were talking about selling and like doing things in the match and like treating it like you have a health bar, like from
Oh,
the beginning of the
wow.
match to the end of the match. And I'm like, yo, that just like that made a light bulb click in my head, and I'm like, that makes so much sense. Like it's something that I like already knew, but it just needed to be spoken to me in a different way for it to like fully like click. And then like I pass that analogy on to people all the time. Like you have to think about it like a health bar, like whenever you go in there, like a video game.
That is awesome. I wouldn't even know that the Briscoes played video games, so that's even cooler.
I wouldn't even known either if they wouldn't have said that.
Now, kind of getting back on other, you have a connection with these Impact wrestlers. You were in the ring with Kimberly, in a five-way scramble match, I believe. Um, could you kind of tell us maybe the advantages and disadvantages of intergender wrestling?
Honestly, I don't think there's really any disadvantages of like intergender wrestling. I think it's fun. I mean, it's just wrestling, honestly. Like as long as the things that you're doing in the ring, like if you make it make sense or you're able to have fun out of it, I think it's fine. Personally, I don't think there's any disadvantages. I mean, there's obviously wrong ways to do it
Right.
that could end up in turn later having the being disadvantages of doing it, but going into it, I don't think there are any, honestly, because I've wrestled a few intergender matches and I've always had fun with them, and it's always been a good time.
Huh? Now, you were at this year's WrestleMania.
Yes.
Could you tell us how being at the biggest wrestling show in the world, how it motivated you in your career?
So that was only like the second ever like WWE live event that I've ever seen
Wow.
in person. Like I've never been to any house shows, Raws or SmackDowns, anything like that. My first ever like live wrestling event was an indie show, and that was like the day I started training for wrestling. So like the only other one that I've been to previously before that, it was I believe it was Night of Champions in 2017. That was held in Indianapolis. So that was the only other one that I'd been to. And now if I go to any other live event after going to WrestleMania, it's unless it's another WrestleMania, it's going to be probably a big letdown.
I could imagine.
But like seeing something that I'd only ever seen on TV and video games, seeing pictures of like famous people being at, or just hearing people talk about it, and actually being there and getting to witness it like in person was just like, it was a breath of fresh air into my wrestling lungs. That's like the best way to put it.
Were you there both nights?
What is it?
Was you there both nights?
Yes, I was there both nights.
Okay. I apologize for
Yeah, so oh no, you're fine. So I got to like take all of that in for both nights, and like I said, it was like a breath of fresh air in my lungs just getting to like witness that and be a part of it, especially that one, because that was the first event, the first show back with fans.
Right.
As well. So like that's also like something that was going to like stick out in my mind as well. And there for a while, like leading up to that, for like a few months, I was like I was like not in a very good place as far as like mentally towards like the wrestling business. I don't know why. I just got into like a mental funk, and I was just kind of bitter about everything for no reason. Sometimes you just get down on yourself and you just get like in a funk.
I get that.
And then and I was just like mad at the world for no reason. Like I didn't even want to. I never wanted to talk about wrestling. I didn't watch wrestling or anything like that. And then leading up to that, there was like I had some conversations with some friends, Ron L. Hunt, Sam Beal, Trey Miguel, and my buddy Damian Chambers. Just like seeing like the work and the grinding that they were doing, it like kind of picked me back up and kind of be like, hey, like get over it. Like whatever you're mad about, just stop it, sort of thing. And then like it kind of picked me up to like start to get like back to that feeling that I had before of like, okay, let's get after it. Let's keep pushing, because like we're not done. We're not even close to being done, so let's keep going. And then going to WrestleMania, that just like just added to that. And then it's just been like hardcore like ever since.
That is incredible. Thank you for sharing that. Now on to a lighter subject. I interviewed Rob Killjoy last week on the show. He said for me to tell you butt stuff, and you would know what that means. Your response?
Oh man, he told you to tell me butt stuff.
Yes. He told me that you would know what it means.
Oh man, that's so funny. That's hilarious. So there's like a multitude of things that means. So it has like multiple meanings.
Oh, we got good time. You could tell us all of them.
I'll just tell you about the one, and it's hilarious. It's a very stupid game that some of us play. When I say some, I mean most of us, and usually everyone gets in on it whenever they come to the Dayton area to come to Rockstar shows. And people like before the show or even during the show, just like in the locker room, you know, the guys, we just like to just like enjoy ourselves and just kind of be lighthearted and stuff. And so you'll have people just like run up behind other people and then like literally yell into their butt.
What?
And you just run up behind them and just go ah, and just like yell in their butt. And it's kind of like, ha, I got you sort of thing. And it's like, ah, damn it, you got me. I didn't come up with it. That was already like an established game whenever I moved up here, and it's just carried on, and it's funny. I don't know. It's very childish, but you know, sometimes it's okay.
Okay, that is definitely an interesting game. But could you tell us maybe one of the other meanings behind butt stuff?
Well, another one. So it's kind of similar to this, but our one of our referees, he takes the game into the ring.
Oh my god!
While we're wrestling, and he just finds moments and he'll just like yell at our butts while we're wrestling.
That is fantastic. Now, you're a Dragon Ball Z fan.
Huge one.
What's your favorite arc or saga?
Just from Z, or out of all of them?
Z. Let's go with Z for right now.
Okay. I'd probably definitely have to say the Cell saga.
Yes.
which is that's I feel like that's everyone's favorite.
I'm a Cell Saga fan myself. That was like my favorite saga. But I always encounter Frieza Saga or the Sand Saga. That's always
No,
people.
those are classic ones. Yeah, I could definitely see. I can understand the merit to why those would be like some people's favorites.
I get why the Frieza Saga because it was the first appearance of the Super Saiyan. But
Yep.
Cell was the only guy that actually legitimately killed Goku. And he was just all around a badass.
Yeah. And just like the way Cell's like personality, like just I don't know. He was cool, but I hated him at the same time. It's like Frieza. I just hated Frieza.
Yes.
Frieza was just a douche. But Cell was like cool, but like, oh, you're cool, but I hate you at the same time. I don't know. It was just Cell was definitely like a one of a kind character that they created for that saga, and I think it was like very well done.
Well, what's your thoughts on Super? Because it kind of goes both ways.
I love it. Honestly,
really?
I'm just happy that we're still getting Dragon Ball content. Like I'm just excited that the series and it's still going on after this long. That's the biggest thing for me. And if people are nitpicking stuff, they don't deserve to get to like witness it and be a part of it. So they should get their privileges taken away. Because I'm just happy that we're still getting it because there's so many old animes that I used to watch that are not going on anymore. Like they've stopped.
True.
So like to have one that's been around this long and it's still going, whether it's just the manga or video games or anything like that, like it's still relevant, which is amazing to me after so long.
I mean, I really enjoyed the movies, and I'm looking forward to the next one that's coming out. But I mean, the anime, the series, it was kind of a miss for me.
Really?
Yeah.
I have loved it all. It's been so good. It's just super exciting to see like how they're in like the direction they are taking things. It just kind of excites me, you know.
I gotcha. Well, I don't think I still haven't found a Majin Buu saga fan yet.
I like the Buu saga. It's not my favorite one, but I like it because you get to see more character development of Vegeta, which is always great.
Yes, when he joined the Majins at that point. Yeah.
And his fight with Goku during that was probably like one of the best on-screen fights, like anime fights you'll probably see.
That was a really good fight. And then afterwards, when he was like, you hold back. You said that you were fighting me at full strength, and you had Super Saiyan 3 in your pocket the whole time.
Yeah, he got super heated about that one.
Yeah. Now you mentioned it at the top of the show. You're a Twitch streamer. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're streaming and twitching at the moment?
Right now I am. I've been playing. I should have got WWE 2K20. I should have got 19, but I just wanted to grab the newer one on my PC. And I'm currently building a universe mode. That's what I've been doing the last few streams. It's going to be like New Japan Pro Wrestling based.
Oh, okay.
So like I'm not going to really use any of like the already like in-game like WWE wrestlers.
Okay.
And so I have my own like created wrestler inserted into it, and I've got one of my viewers. He he uploaded a character, and then he asked me to. His words was "New Japan it up," so he wanted me to kind of like modify his attire and stuff to make it look like this wrestler wrestles for New Japan. Because whenever he uploaded his costume and stuff like that, it was very monochromed. So it was like very just like a 2-color pattern. It was like gold, like this like kind of gold and black everywhere. That was like literally it. I was like, okay, let's spice this up a little bit. We'll keep the gold, but then like we'll add some like this like shiny like teal blue, and then there's some purple in here. There we'll add a little bit of black on it. Here's some white, just to like kind of brighten it up. Because if you've watched New Japan, like a lot of the guys and the wrestlers there, they use a lot of colors and a lot of bright colors just to kind of like stand out and kind of like seem even larger than life than what they are. Kind of like think about like Flair in his robes, or just like people with their extravagant entrance gear. Like New Japan's entrance gear, like most of the wrestlers, is amazing, and I love it. Like guys like Takahashi and Naito. Naito comes out in a suit, and it's just so sweet. I love all of it, and their coats, and it's the whole presentation of all of it. It's just, in my mind, that's pro wrestling, you know.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's probably part of the reason why I like lean towards watching it the most, because that is the most watched wrestling that I currently watch at the moment is New Japan.
I mean, the G1's going on right now.
Yeah, exactly. And I've only watched night 1 so far, and I am like the matches all were amazing, and I love how every one of them felt different. Like Kenta's match, there was a lot of comedy in it, and I loved that. I genuinely loved that.
Kenta
and then
could do
we
comedy.
had
Kenta's a funny guy. I mean,
I know that, but like I wasn't expecting that. And then I saw who he was wrestling, because like I didn't like fully like look at the card before I started watching it, and I saw it and I was like, oh, this is going to be good. And because then they were able to play off, because they wrestled last year in the G1 as well, and so they were able to use some elements from their previous match, like with the tape, like with taping them up at the entranceway. That was fantastic. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And then you get the upset victory of Yujiro beating Ibushi. I didn't expect that.
I
at
threw
all.
my hands up and I was like, my bracket's busted.
I thought for sure. I was like, oh, Coda's winning this one. And then he lost. I was like, yo, I was speechless. Because I was watching it. I was watching that match on stream.
Okay.
And after the 3 count, my mouth was just wide open. I was like, just utter shock in my face.
Yeah.
I was just, mind was blown. I did not expect him to lose the first match.
Oh, definitely not. Especially to Yujiro.
Yeah, because Yujiro's like traditionally kind of like a haha character sometimes too. Not like not a lot, but like sometimes.
I mean, he only won 1 match last year in the G1.
That is true. That is true.
I mean, things are already crazy now because Naito had to drop out as well.
Oh, he did? I didn't see that.
Yeah, he in the match with Zack, he tore his ACL.
Oh no!
Yeah, so like right at the first night, all the brackets were busted because Naruto had to drop out, and I'm just really sad we don't get to see all the really interesting matches we could have saw with him.
I did not know that. I wonder if they're gonna. Well, they have to put someone in there to replace him. Yeah,
they didn't.
I would imagine
the wrestlers, the people he has to wrestle get 2 points automatically. It counts as a forfeit. But they are still wrestling on the show.
Oh,
They're not replacing
okay.
them.
Gotcha. That's interesting. That's going to make things very interesting.
It kind of opens it up for somebody else to kind of sneak in there, honestly.
Yeah.
Now back to the interview portion of this interview. Previewing and reviewing the latest shows on Saturday. Onto a controversial subject: pineapple on pizza. What's your stance?
I like pineapple on pizza.
Okay.
Not on every kind of pizza, but like on certain kinds of pizza, yeah.
Ooh, elaborate.
So my favorite like chain pizza place is Domino's. And so I will get if I'm feeling like I want some pineapple, I'll get this instead of pizza sauce, I get barbecue sauce put on it. Get some
Okay.
cheese. Obviously, we get the cheese, get a little extra cheese on there. Then get their grilled chicken and then pineapple.
Damn.
So you get like a barbecue chicken pineapple pizza. And they used to have this like Hawaiian seasoning that you could get put on the crust. They don't have it anymore. This was like a decade ago whenever they had it. Because that was like the first time I had tried that kind of pizza because one of my roommates in college had ordered it and let me have a slice. And I was like, yo, this is delicious. And so yeah, I'm all for pineapple on pizza, especially like if like the flavors can complement themselves, like with the different toppings.
Alright. What's your spirit Pokemon?
My spirit Pokemon?
Yes.
Well, my favorite Pokemon is Gengar, but as far as like spirit Pokemon, it's probably Snorlax. It's probably Snorlax because I sleep and eat a lot, and if you wake me up, I'm probably going to be angry about it. But Gengar is definitely my favorite for sure.
Alright. And it's appreciated that you picked an OG.
Well, I mean, I grew up with the OGs, so I got to.
Yeah, but some people go towards the newer ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, as far as like I really like Ghost Pokemon, and the Ghost Pokemon in the newer generations aren't as good as what they were in the earlier generations, or at least in my opinion, I don't think they are.
I thought Darkrai was pretty cool.
Ah, yeah, that one's okay. I don't. He's not as cool as Gengar though.
Fair enough. The weirdest thing you will ever be asked on a wrestling podcast. Would you ever consider wrestling a Rock? Not Dwayne Johnson, not the country, an actual Rock.
Would I ever wrestle a Rock?
Yes.
I mean, if he'll sell for me, brother, you know. But if he's not selling, then I'll make him sell.
Just for
I'm sure I could find a way to make that entertaining.
Just for context, there's this wrestler named Psycho Mike that wrestled a little Rock for over 15 minutes, in which was billed as an Iron Man match that lasted for 2 weeks.
Wow. What?
Yes. He wrestled a Rock for 2 weeks, and he didn't win either.
He didn't win?
No, they tied. 319
That's
to
awesome.
319.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Oh, it was definitely something to watch.
That's just like that. I'm speechless over that one.
And we love Tracy Smothers on this show. In honor of the late great Tracy Smothers, do you know the acronym for Doug?
Man, if you wouldn't have just asked me at this moment, I feel awful because like I'm drawing a blank on it right now. Oh my god. He would kick my ass for this. Because I've like worked a bunch of shows with Tracy before. And he's always been like such a great guy. And like I know it, but like I'm drawing a blank on it, and I feel like such a terrible like person now because of it.
I mean, you're fine. I mean, we've had people on that were like the biggest wrestling fans of all time, and when I ask them that question, they go blank. But I'll run it down for you, and if you want to say it afterwards, you can. T is for
Okay.
terrible, H is for hell, U is for ugly, and G is for jail, 'cause a Doug can't spell.
I love that. I haven't heard that in a while, and that just made me smile so much.
You know, we've had a couple people that knew Tracy, and it's great that his legacy continues.
I agree. He was always just a bright light in the locker room. Anytime like I would see him at a show, I always just go up to him and hug him. Be like, "Hey Tracy, how are you, man?" He's like, I'm all right. I'm here. We got let's work smart tonight."
Now for you, it's time for the colossal question. Kaliko's colossal
Colossal.
question, not featuring Kaliko. You've been in the game for a little while now, and one might say that it's worthy of a movie. You're being played by Leonardo DiCaprio. With every movie, there is a soundtrack. What would be the first three songs on your wrestling career soundtrack?
Ooh, let's see. Ooh, that's a tough one. This is that's something I've never thought of before. Hold on, that's gonna take me a second.
It is the question that broke Colossal Mike Law.
So, first three songs on the soundtrack. Well, one of them would definitely have to be the song that I used in my first ever match. I only used it the one time because one of my first ever match, I kind of got thrown into it. I didn't know I was wrestling that night, but there was like a bunch of cancellations and no shows, and they needed someone, so I jumped in. And so it would be "Tears Don't Fall" by Bullet for My Valentine would be like the first one, I feel like. The second one would definitely be Sid Vicious in a Dress by Powerman 5000. Me and my old tag partner, we like every time, not Christian Cobain, my tag partner before, Henry Shaw, that would be a song that always got played in the car whenever we were traveling to shows together, if not multiple times. It's just such a good song.
I'm calling it.
Okay.
And
Calling it the.
probably after that one, I would have to say, what's the name of the Blue Mountain State theme song? It's like, I think the band is like Hell Yeah.
Was that by Killswitch Engaged?
No, the lead singer he was like the lead singer of Mudvayne, I think. Let me see. Oh, Rev Theory, hell yeah, that's what it is.
Love Theory.
That would be the third one.
All right. Are you locking it in?
I am locking it in.
All right. And now it is time for that segment once again. Crash Jackson's Bizarre Adventure. Pro wrestler that goes up and down the highways, and weird, crazy, and bizarre things are bound to happen. Can you tell us a road story that fits that description?
The first one that immediately pops into my mind. Me, Ace Austin, and Christian Cobain were traveling. We were going to the Northeast because we had a loop of shows after a Wednesday night Rockstar show, and we left around like 2 a.m. because we had to go to Warwick, Rhode Island, and it was like a 13-hour drive.
Ooh.
So we're going. I took like the first few hours of the trip, and then I was like, all right, I need to like switch out. So then Cobain takes over, and then I'm like, all right, I'm gonna try to get some sleep. So then like I will be able to go for longer whenever it's my turn to drive again. And so me and Ace both like end up falling asleep, and Cobain's driving, and we think it's all fine. And then all of a sudden I hear, guys, where do I go? And like I wake up, I'm like, what? Because I'm in the back seat, and the other two are in the front. And so I like lean to like look like between the two front seats, and we're like driving in the middle of this construction zone. Cobain's like, I was following a truck, and then I don't know where it went, and now I don't know where to go. And so we're like in the middle of like this construction zone on this highway, and somewhere in Pennsylvania, if I'm not mistaken. And it's like maybe like 5 o'clock in the morning or something. And he's like, man, I'm sorry, I don't see that good at night. I'm like, that would have been good to know like 6 hours ago. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you should have let someone else drive. We'll let you do all the driving during the day. So that's like the first thing that pops up into my head. As far as just like something like funny. Another quick little one. It's another trip to the Northeast with Ace Austin. I've done a lot of those with him. We were going through Baltimore, and I was driving. It's in the middle of the day, but it's probably about 4 o'clock, and so we're like on like a super busy like turnpike in the middle of Baltimore. I have to pee like something so bad, and there's like, I'd been holding it forever, and I'm like, no, we gotta like pick up some time. We gotta like, we're running a little bit behind. We gotta keep going. But eventually got to the point, it's like, I'm either gonna sit here and piss on myself, or I have to just pull over and go. I was like, I don't have like I didn't bring like an extra pair of like underwear and stuff with me. Like I'd only allotted like a certain amount that I brought with me for the trip, because we're gonna be gone for a couple of days. And I was like, I don't have enough money to just go buy more pairs of underwear. So I'm like, all right, I'm pulling over. So like I pull over. I finally find like a wide spot on this busy turnpike in the middle of Baltimore. Like, and I go and I just start peeing on the side of the road while there's like cars, all 3 lanes just full, passing by, people honking the horn. I'm just like, hey, what's up? It it was that or pee on myself. I was like, you know what? These people get a free show today.
Thank Those were really good stories. Thank you.
No problem.
On a more serious note, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, hopefully, I have either made it to one of the TV companies and have been there for like a little bit, or I am doing well enough on the independents that it is sustaining me, and that is like my main source of income, to where I only basically have to do that.
And what is a match people should go out of their way to see that best shows off what Crash Jackson is all about?
I would say my match with Arrow Boy from March of 2020 is definitely one. Another one would be the scramble match that I had for Impact, and then another scramble match that I had for the Wrestling Revolver that had Moose, Larry D, Madman Fulton, and Steve Manders in it.
Alright. And since we are nearing the conclusion of this interview, we are wrestling with the 8 questions of doom.
Oh boy.
This is our speed round, our bonus round, the round where we see who you really are. Are you ready, Crash?
I guess I'm as ready as I'll ever be.
Excluding yourself, greatest wrestler of all time.
Stone Cold.
Worst wrestler of all time.
Bret Hart.
What?
I do not like Bret Hart. I don't think he's entertaining.
Interesting. You're main eventing WrestleMania for the World Championship. Who is your opponent?
Shingo Takagi.
Ooh, interesting. If you could come out to anyone's entrance music, past or present, who would it be?
Either Seth Rollins's "Burn It Down" or Randy Orton's original theme,
Born in My Life.
inside. Yeah, "Burning My Light."
Not the first time we've had Born in My Light on the show.
I loved that theme. I just thought it was so good.
Apparently a lot of people liked it except Randy Orton.
Tisk.
Finish the sentence. Kayfabe is...
Alive if you let it be.
Squash. Fruit or vegetable?
I'm pretty sure it's a vegetable.
It is indeed a fruit.
Damn.
But you may have gotten the question wrong, but you are in a good graces with Coleco Yachts, a part of Squash Squad now, and that means so much more.
Awesome.
Yes, he is very adamant that squash is a vegetable because you don't find squash in fruit salad. And that's his main criteria. New Japan wrestler Taichi, his ring gear gets smaller every year, revealing more of himself to the world. My question, What is the appropriate trunks to butt cheek ratio for ring gear?
I mean, like maybe like 10% cheek showing is okay, but I think if it's more than that, that's a little much.
You hear that? 10%. And the last question, the main event, the thing everybody wants to know. Have you ever had a conversation with a stranger in a supermarket about Darby Allin?
About Darby Allin?
Yes.
No, not that if I did, I don't remember it at all.
And that is the correct answer. And that will conclude this interview. Thank you so much, Cross, for coming on and doing this with me.
Yo, James, thank you so much for having me on here. It was a lot of fun.
I had an absolute blast as well. Could you tell us where we can find you on social media once again?
Yo, so Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, Pro Wrestling Tees, all of them at the Crash Jaxon. And my Teespring store is a Shop Crash Jaxon merch. So, go show me some love, guys. I'd really appreciate it.
I mean, they've been listening to you for a little over an hour. Buy a damn shirt.
Please.
And of course, all of the links to those websites and your social media accounts will be in the description of the video below, both on YouTube and Castbox. So there are no excuses. If you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment, both on YouTube and Castbox. Join us next week as we interview Megan Mason. The week after that, Sam Beal. And the week after that, Crystal Moon. So we have a packed October for you here on Wrestling with Entertainment. You can also follow the show at Wrestling with E on Twitter and Instagram for all your Wrestling with E entertainment needs. Of course, this was sponsored by Rogue Energy. Use promo code Wrestling with E for 10% off your next purchase. You can follow me at JamesJ993, Kaliko at I am Kaliko, and Scooter Dust at Scooter Dust. Now, Crash, when I say wrestling with, you say entertainment, okay?
I got you.
For our very special guest, Crash Jaxon, Kaliko Yacht, Scooter Dust, I'm James J, and this has been Wrestling with
Entertainment.
Hey guys, this is Brutal Bob Evans from Hangs with Bob Seminars and TheWrestleLife.com, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment, one of my favorite podcasts in the whole wide world.
Hey folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show, support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.